London
Why
calling.
did he choose that username?
Broadsword to Danny boy. Broadsword to Danny boy. Can you hear me, Danny boy?
Broadsword, can you hear us? Andy.
The eggs are in the...
Andy, I think you've managed to mute everything, including your microphone.
Yep, this is going to be an interesting conversation.
I'm just trying to figure out whether his... Well, from what he sent me, I can't even formulate a question from it. Andy.
Hi guys, all right.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Andy, you're very muffled. I'm going to let you speak. Be as quick as you can.
Okay. It's just regarding my question about religion and faith. Because I believe that any person who makes an absolute statement like there is a God or there is not a God needs proof and evidence, and therefore if they have not got any evidence, it then becomes a faith. Now, many atheists, I don't know what the percentage is, but I'd have thought about 90% of atheists would say that God does not exist. It's an absolute statement.
Stop there.
Carry on.
No, just don't go any further. If that is your understanding, then whether it's right or not, I think is irrelevant. Atheism is a lack of belief. You can't provide evidence for a lack of belief.
Right. Okay, but would you say in yourself, I know Thunderfoot was asked this question by Eric Hovind and he couldn't answer it. Thunderfoot, you should just said yes or no. It's not a redundant question. The question actually stands. It's a very relevant question. It's the reason why...
What's the question? What's the question? Let's be specific. Well, what is the question?
The question was, Eric Hovind asked Thunder, is it possible for a God to exist? Now, that's a very valid question because...
Okay, well, we're running a bit short of time, Andy. We've got the point. Let Thunder address that. Thunder, why didn't you answer that question yes or no?
Because there is an infinite number of similar questions that you could ask, and indeed have been asked for probably several thousand years. And the one thing that unites them is that they have not gotten us anywhere. You might as well ask how many angels can dance on the head of a pin, or is there an invisible telepathic walrus juggling skulls inside the core of Pluto?
Yeah, but nobody actually bows down to that religion.
On a plinth.
Can I just carry on just one moment? Sorry.
But what evidence do you have for your belief that those things aren't true?
None. To be honest, I made a video not so long ago saying that the universe is so vastly big that who knows, these things may well exist, because in the immensity of space, just let me carry on, Thunder, in the immensity of space and chance, we don't know how many galaxies there are out there. We don't know what sort of life forms there are. Evolution is probably different from each galaxy to the next, and therefore the physics could therefore be different, and it could...
No, I'll pause you there, Andy, if I may. I'll pause you there. Okay. Your first comments were kind of half right. We've got a fairly good understanding of how many galaxies are out there. Yeah. Yes, life may have developed in a different way. It's bound to have developed in some sort of similar process to evolution, but yeah, I'll give you that. But when you say the laws of physics may be different, that I find very, very troublesome.
Because we don't know, Dennis, do we?
Let me finish, because if the laws of physics are different somewhere else, then there must be a boundary where those laws change. And I cannot conceive, because I can't conceive it doesn't mean it isn't true, but I cannot conceive of any way in which you could have different laws of physics applying in different areas.
Well, the only data that we have on these things comes from photons from these things. Right? And from that, we have a fairly reasonable understanding that these other galaxies function in a very similar way to our own. They have things like stars in them. They operate with things like gravity.
I do carry on, Andy.
Okay. No,
sorry, one second, Andy. Concordance first, and then we'll go back to you, Andy.
Well, I think we're missing the point. So I've already used this analogy because it's on my brain at the moment. But you probably don't believe that there's an invisible, incorporeal, heatless, flame-breathing dragon in my garage, one that's undetectable to all known instruments. But what do you care? I mean, this is kind of how I feel about it. Is yeah, maybe there is some place. There's Thor is quietly sitting in Asgard. For all I know, Aron-Ra is his reincarnation or his avatar. It doesn't matter to me. It's not that I stay awake at night thinking, oh no, what if he really does exist? If there's no detectability, if there's no unexplained phenomenon that needs an explanation that can only be answered by invoking a magical being, then what's the difference? What is the difference whether there's a China teapot orbiting Venus or Jupiter or Mars? What does it matter? I guess is really the question. Why would I need to deny the existence of these things to you and make some sort of a case that there isn't, in fact, a China teapot orbiting Venus? Neither one of us can know, but you're the one making the positive claim. You're the one who has to make the argument.
To be fair, I don't think Andy is.
I'm not making any positive claim.
I think he was asking why Thunder didn't answer the question. But Thunder,
I'm just saying.
Thunder, 1 second, Andy. Thunder, and then we'll come back to you, Andy.
So life is short, right? So you have to be you have to make choices about where it's the most effective time, the effective way to spend your time, and speculating about things that are unknown, arguably unknowable, and have a track history of producing nothing of value are not useful ways to spend your time. Which is why that's the answer that I gave to Hovind.
Andy, back to you.
Okay, no. Right, okay, so I have no evidence for God, and you have no evidence to back up that there is no God. I just want to get to the point, Thunder. I mean, if you were to answer this question, is it possible...
Andy, I want to pause you there for a second, if I may, because it seems as if you're trying to put forward... Let me finish, if I may. You're trying to put forward an argument that you would never, ever use in any other area of your life. The laws of evidence are something that you're quite familiar with, you use every day. If you were sitting on a jury, you would use those laws or those understanding of intuition and inferences. But you're suddenly, when it comes to religion, everything seems to go fudgy. And
well, it's a two-edged sword, though, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Theists, they haven't got any evidence of a God, but they still worship a God. And atheists, exactly
that's the point. Atheism is a lack of belief in gods. How can you? I simply don't understand how you don't grasp this. How can you not understand that?
But why do you think the way you do?
You're being the shock of God. Can you prove that atheism is correct and accurate?
Can you prove there's not the incorporeal magic dragon in the shop next to me? It's invisible. You can't detect it. But I know with absolute certainty it's there because I presuppose it's there and I feel that it communicates with me on a spiritual level.
I'll try as best I can to use an analogy. Andy, 1 second. This may help. I'll try as best I can to use an analogy that Matt Dillahunty used and I thought used effectively. And I'm bound to get it wrong, but the way he put it is theism is over here selling something, right? Atheism is over here, and basically it's not buying what they're selling, but they're not selling anything.
But nothing to sell because we can't see it. It's just a faith, isn't it?
You've got it.
Yeah, I know, but theism. I mean, theists have a faith in a God. Can't prove it, therefore it's a faith, it's religion. And on the flip side of that, you have the atheists who don't believe there's a God. If you were to ask most of the atheists, they would say that God does not exist. But why do they know that? It's a faith statement. They haven't got any facts. They haven't got any facts to back up their faith. That's what I'm trying to say.
I thought I answered these. I guess I answered them too early. You don't challenge. You don't believe my assertion that there's a dragon in my garage, right? What evidence do you have that there's not a dragon in my garage? Are you accepting on faith that there's not an invisible dragon in my garage? This is the nature of positive claims. If I reject a particular claim due to insufficient evidence, I don't have to make a counter argument for why I don't accept the claim. I simply don't think the evidence is sufficient to commit to that position. So I'm not selling anything. I'm not asking you to take anything faith. In fact, I'm asking you not to take anything on faith. Be skeptical in every life, not just in whether or not the guy shortchanged you or whether or not there are laundry gnomes that steal your left sock. I'm saying be skeptical in every area of your life. Is there sufficient evidence to accept a particular claim? I don't want you to accept that there is no God because I said so, or I made this really compelling transcendental argument. I'm simply saying be skeptical of that claim, be skeptical of every claim in your life. Be skeptical of the most basic of things.
I think we need to be open, though. I think we need to be open to absolutely. We need to be true, honest, free thinkers. I don't think atheists are. I'll tell you the reason why, Concordance, is because a lot of atheists.
One second, Andy. I'm not going to let you get away with that one. You don't think that atheists are open-minded?
No, I don't think.
No, one second. You are telling me that atheists are not open-minded, and what, in contrast to theists? Bigoted people who adopt a certain doctrine and stick by it and defend it against all evidence, against all reason. And I'll give you another example. Right. In the field of science, for example, imagine the scientist who came up and proved that Einstein was wrong. People are desperately trying to improve and prove previous theories wrong, and they would be famous beyond whatever. Of course, they're open-minded. They're open to exploration. They're trying to discover, and I think that is what atheism is. It is open-mindedness. It is an acceptance that unless there is evidence for something, there is no reason to accept it. But it's not the same as being closed-minded.
Well, I think there's a lot of atheists out there who are ex-theists, and they've been scorned, and they've been hurt by a church like myself. And you know my history, don't you, Dennis? What happened to me? And I come away from the church, and I went from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
And I've now bounced back, suddenly realised that hey, hang on a minute, am I honestly being honest with myself? How do I know that there is no God? What evidence have I got for God, and what evidence have I got to say that there is no God? Well, I've got none. So therefore, if I say there is no God, it's a faith statement. It's a simple faith statement. It's as simple as that. And if you believe in something,
you had this explained to you at least three times now.
I'm just trying to tell you, Phil. If you haven't got any evidence for something, therefore it becomes a faith. And if you practice that faith, it then becomes a religion. It's as simple as that. And there's a lot of people. A lot of atheists these days.
So you practice the faith that there is not a magical dragon in Concordance's basement?
Well, no, we're not talking about dragons. We're talking about the existence of a.
You practice that faith, though. You do reject that. You do reject that proposition. And because you reject it, that is, according to you, a faith position, and practicing that faith position is a religion. So why have you adopted the religion that Concordance doesn't have a dragon in his basement?
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, looking at him, it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
It's the new level of genetic research is coming to fruition, right, Concordance?
Yeah, well, the invisible ones are the hardest ones to breed.
I don't know, Andy, whether it's a lack of appreciation of evidence and the burden of proof, or whether it is a semantic thing, because you use the word faith as so far as non-belief in a God.
It is faith. Both sides, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can see it, standing on the fence looking at both sides, I can see that both require faith. It takes faith to believe in a God. It also takes faith to believe that there is not a God, because there is. You talk to the theists, they say this is how the earth began and how the creation began. You talk to atheists, they say no, it's because of the Big Bang. I mean, for crying out loud, we don't even know where the energy comes from to make the.
Do you understand the definition of the word faith?
Well, you tell me your definition of it. I think it's believing in something which you can't see. Believing in something which you can't see.
Andy, you asked me a question. Let me finish. Belief without evidence.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, exactly. 5 words. Belief without 4 words. But anyway, There's a question for Thunder.
Well, I think Concordance wanted to come back.
Okay.
Just a second.
Sorry.
Well, I think you're massively overstating the number of actual, what you might call positive atheists, I think is the term, or strong atheists. I think most people out there just say, well, I don't know, but there's no reason for me to say that there is one. It's not it's not embracing the opposition. It's not necessarily saying that I know there is no God, therefore I'm an atheist. It's just saying that the evidence hasn't been made. It's not true and false. It's guilty and not guilty. Now, you can be a terrible SOB and be not guilty. Do you understand the difference? It's not that it's either a true statement or a false statement. You either feel that the evidence has been made to make a conviction, or you do not feel that the evidence has been sufficient to make the case. And that's all we're asking for. If you either see enough evidence to accept a claim or you don't see enough evidence to accept a claim, that requires no faith whatsoever. In fact, it's the opposite of faith.
Andy, I'm going to remove you now, but thank you very much for the call. I don't know whether it was a semantic argument or what, but there we are. We've overrun, as normal, by 15 minutes. I'd like to thank everyone that has turned up to watch, and obviously those that have participated, Concordance, Thunderfoot, Aaron, and all the callers that we've had. Just to remind you again, we do have a website now. It is work in progress, so to speak, but we would like your comments, observations, what should be on it, what would be useful to see, and what you'd like to see on it. It is www.magicsandwichshow.com. And I almost forgot, I have to thank Emily Has Books for the assistance that she's given in setting up that website.
Great job, Emily.
Also have to thank Tony, who, again, working away behind the scenes, has brought...
Great job, Tony.
Yeah, brought a show that is, I think, the first one where we haven't had any technical problems at all. We haven't dropped. Maybe not the first one in a while. So there we are. As usual, this show will be posted on YouTube, hopefully within about 40